Okay, so as part of that, today we'll see how a Zen hypervisor will work. Okay, so that we'll demonstrate today. Okay, so Zen, we'll see how Zen will achieve paravirtualization. So Zen is basically a hypervisor. So and it follows microkernel architecture. So the meaning of microkernel architecture is that so it is a kernel which doesn't include all the full-fledged functionalities of the operating system. It supports only the basic functionalities that are required, like process management, memory management, so accounting and so on. And it's a open source project, and new uh, new architecture new vendors who have implemented the Zen architecture include Oracle and Citrix. So Oracle and Citrix, they follow Zen architecture. Okay, and it supports desktop virtualization or server virtualization. So that means it supports both desktop and server virtualization. And you can find more information about Zen using this URL, that is www.zenproject.org. You can find more information about Zen there. Okay, so look at the architecture of Zen. See, you can see Zen contains uh, in the lower layer. Sorry, the architecture of the Zen contains hardware devices in the lowermost layer. So that includes processor, memory, storage, RAM, networking, whatever the resources, physical resources, so that are required. It includes all the physical resources. Then upon that, we are installing the hypervisor. So that means we are directly installing the Zen hypervisor on the hardware device. Now tell me then whether it's a type 1 hypervisor or type 2 hypervisor. So we are installing Zen directly on the hardware. So that means it is type 1 hypervisor. Okay, so then after that you can see, so there are various we have created virtual machines 1, 2 and 3. So upon one we have installed one operating system, and we have one guest operating system, and we are calling that guest as domain 0. And after that, two more guest operating systems we have installed. So one is Linux and another one is Windows. So we are calling it Zeno Linux and Zeno Windows. Actually, some Linux operating system and some Windows operating system. And you can see here on the top. So upon domain 0, we have 3 applications. Upon Linux, we have 3, and upon Windows, we have 4 applications. And they have written control input output upon domain 0. The meaning is that, see, that means this is the controller part. That means, so when the system is booted, first it will load, so Zen will load domain 0. So one peculiar feature about this Zen operating system is it will provide a provision to the guest operating system to access with the to deal with the or to interact with the hardware directly without any intervention by the hypervisor. And at the same time, it will not install any device drivers. That means without even installing a device driver, it will provide a mechanism using which the every guest operating system installed can directly interact with the hardware. Say for example, so consider an application so running on Windows operating system, that is here in the last VM. You can see here. So here, if it wants to store some data into the secondary memory, so that means it can access the storage directly without any intervention by the hypervisor. So that is one peculiar feature about Zen operating system. And as I told, so it will not load any device driver, but still it will enable the applications to interact directly with the hardware devices. And here domain 0 is called as the controller part, and all remaining guest operating systems are called as domain U. So domain U, so only the first virtual machine which is called as controller part. That means when the booting happens, so Zen will load first, then after that Zen will load domain 0, because the domain 0 is the controller. Okay, and this domain 0 will do allocation and mapping of resources for this Linux guest operating system and Windows guest operating system. Okay, So that means first it will load domain 0. So this can be some operating system, let it be any operating system. So this will act as the controller, which in turn is responsible for allocating resources to Linux and Windows. So here Linux and Windows are called as domain U, whereas this the first VM guest operating system, which is part of the first virtual machine, say let it be Ubuntu. Let us assume it as Ubuntu. So now it is called as domain 0. Okay, and here, so therefore, whatever the applications that are installed in domain U, that is Linux and Windows, can be controlled by domain 0, and it can decide how many resources are to be allocated to Linux and how many resources are to be allocated to Windows. So that's how Zen will work. Okay, you want any clarification? The role of domain 0 and domain U. Here the first operating system is called as domain 0 and remaining are called as domain U. Okay, U stands for user. So this will run in the privileged mode. Domain 0 will run in the privileged mode, and remaining VMs will run in the non-privileged mode. So hence, domain 0 controls the operations, all the operations of remaining guest operating systems, and that's why it is called as the controller part of the Zen architecture. So look at here another diagram to show the Zen architecture. So which is also given in your textbook. Okay, so look at this diagram. See, in the lowermost layer we have the hardware. Okay, then it's interacting with the Zen hypervisor, which is a middleware software. So that means immediately after the hardware we have installed Zen hypervisor, and I told it's a microkernel architecture, and it provides only the basic functionality of a kernel, that is memory management, CPU related, that is process management and IO management. Okay, so then look at here, it is running under ring 0. As we know that ring 0 means it will run under privileged mode and it is having highest priority. So ring 0, 1 and 2 will run under privileged mode, and ring 3, that is the last ring, which will run under user mode. Okay, and here, so user domains, so which is called as domain U. So ring 1 and ring 2 are called as, so ring 1 is called as domain U, even ring 2 is also domain U, and ring 3 is the user application. Okay, so see here what this domain 0 will do. It will do virtual machine management, HTTP interface, and access to the Zen hypervisor. Okay, so that means domain 0 is responsible for virtual machine management. That means controlling and coordinating all the operations of the virtual machine, and also allocating the resources to the remaining virtual machines. So in the first virtual machine, we have the domain, we call it as domain 0. We have some guest operating system, and it is responsible for mapping resources to the remaining virtual machines and the guest operating systems. And it will provide the provision to the guest operating system to interact with the hardware resources directly without need for any binary translation or any intermediate translations. No such translations are required here. Okay, that's how Zen will work. Okay, now I'll see VMware full virtualization. So Zen is para virtualization. So VMware is full virtualization. Now we'll see how VMware supports for full virtualization. So as we know, VMware we are also using in academics. Okay, so underlying hardware is replicated and made available to the guest operating system. So that means when we install VMware, it will the hardware is replicated and made available to the guest operating system. That means it will create a virtual copy of the available hardware resources, let it be processor, IO channels, the RAM, storage, anything. So it will do the mirroring, and it will create a replicated copy and made it and it will make it available to the guest operating system. And VMware implements full virtualization in the desktop environments. So it implements full virtualization in desktop environments. So and it uses type 2 hypervisor if you are applying it for server environment, and if you are applying it for desktop, it uses type 1 hypervisor. Okay, so that means if you are using, see, most of the times it uses type 2 hypervisor for server environment, but type 1 can be used for both desktop and server environments. Okay, so that means if you are using a server system, then you have a choice, either you can go with type 1 hypervisor or type 2 hypervisor. But if you are using a desktop system, then it is compulsory to go for type 1 hypervisor. Okay, so VMware supports for both type 1 and type 2 hypervisors. So and it supports direct execution and also binary translation. Okay, so if you go for type 2 hypervisor, so binary translation is required. If you are going for type 1 hypervisor, so that is not required. Okay, look at this diagram, how VMware supports for full virtualization. So this is a full virtualization reference model. Okay, so see in ring this, you can see in ring 0, as I told, the user threads will be run here. So user applications. Then in ring 0, the highest privileged instructions will be run. Okay, that is hypervisor, which will take care of binary translation and instruction catching. And guest operating system will run in ring 0, sorry, ring 1 and in ring 2. Okay, guest OS will use both ring 1 and ring 2, and ring 3 is dedicated for the applications whatever we install upon the guest operating system. Okay, therefore the whatever the when you install, say for example, some you have developed some application and you are hosting it using the virtual machine. So to host that, you have to install guest operating system. So upon that, you are installing. So now that will run on ring 3, and your guest operating system will run on ring 1 and 2. Okay, and the hypervisor will occupy ring 0, because here when it comes to priority, hypervisor is having the highest priority. Second highest priority goes to the guest operating system, therefore it occupies ring 1 and 2, and the least priority goes to user applications, so that will be run using ring 3. Okay, and you can see the hardware trap here. So that means, so whenever hypervisor encounters any sensitive instruction, in that time, if the say if the control is in user space, so that will be, it will create a trap to move to admin mode, so that it can run sensitive instructions. Okay, that is sensitive instructions are nothing but privileged instructions. Okay, so that's the okay, and the hardware example that they have considered here is x86 architecture, that is 8086 architecture. Okay, so that's about Zen architecture and Zen para virtualization and VMware full virtualization. So now after this, so I'll give you one assignment. Okay, so okay, before that, let us see VMware workstation architecture. This we have already studied. Okay, this we have already studied in virtualization. So look at the architecture of an VMware workstation. So here we have a hardware, upon that we have a host operating system. Okay, so in our lab, what we are using is VMware workstation. Keep in your mind. Okay, we are using VMware workstation. So for which we need to have an host operating system. Upon that, we install VMware. Okay, so we call it as VMware driver. So the moment when we install that VMware driver, so we can create, it will open the interface and we call it as VMware workstation. Okay, so and say therefore now upon the host operating system, we have two things. We have user applications. At the same time, we have now VMware workstation also. Okay, So now what are the functions of this? We will see. So direct access to the hardware. Okay, that means, so upon the workstation we create virtual machine, and upon that we install guest operating system, then upon that user applications. So when upon we installing the user applications, it will provide direct access to the guest operating system so that it can interact directly with the hardware. Okay, for that, so to interact with the hardware we need something called as the drivers. Okay, that drivers will be loaded by VMware, and we call it as VMware driver. Okay, so and this is a simple architecture of VMware workstation. So therefore, so now this VMware, the guest operating system and the applications installed above that can access directly the IO channels, processor, memory, RAM, storage, everything. Okay, so because we are installing the drivers, and hence it is supporting to interact with the hardware. Okay, and the final thing is, so for you, the assignment part is you need to study this VMware ESXi server architecture and Microsoft Hyper-V. Okay, yes, this is Microsoft Hyper-V. Okay, so you need to study Microsoft Hyper-V architecture and VMware ESXi server. Okay, so either one I'll be considering as the case study question for your internal test. Okay, second internal test, not for the first internal test. Why? Because module 2 I'll consider for second internal test. For module 1 and 2 will be considered for first IA. Okay, so first IA question paper, everything is already prepared. So, and for B, we are conducting exams using online. For MCA, so far no clarity. VTU has not given any announcement with respect to MBA and MCA. Okay, so we are waiting for that. Let us see how they want to conduct. So, okay, so anyhow, module 3, that is virtualization, will be considered for second IA test, and module 1 and 2 will be considered for first IA test. Okay, and another thing, important announcement today, I'm going to give you the quiz, that is second quiz. So in between 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock you are supposed to take. So that means at 1 o'clock, around 12:50 or 1 o'clock, I'll share the link. So it's a MCQ quiz using Google Forms. So you need to take that quiz. Okay, hello.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so by here we are ending third module. Okay, now today whatever I have told, those are the example concepts, that is applications of virtualization, that is para virtualization and full virtualization. And similarly now for you the assignment is to learn VMware ESXi server architecture and also the Microsoft Hyper-V. Okay, so a lot of YouTube videos are available for Microsoft Hyper-V and VMware ESXi. Okay, and once again I'll be revising it, not an issue. Okay, just to promote self-reading I'm giving you this assignment. Okay, yes, so from next week you'll be starting the new module, that is module 4. Okay, don't forget to take the MCQ quiz at 1 o'clock. Okay, you have to take it in between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.